What's good? You know what it is. DJ GWK, Bipolar Radio. I'm sitting here. I was talking with Mouseball and everything, and I enjoyed his video. Sorry about that. Major reasons on why it's great to own an Abarth. And I've owned my Abarth now for like a year. So I feel like I have, a little insight. Is this car practical? Not at all. I mean, it is tiny. It barely fits, 2 people. If you're looking to fit 3, they better be small or a child. And, but you're not buying it for practicality. You're buying it because it's fast and it's fun. I mean, I've had mine tuned and straight piped with some aftermarket parts, and it's probably one of the funnest cars I own. I had an SRT before this car, and I have to say, this car is a lot more fun than the SRT. The SRT, was fast, but it was bulky. It wasn't nimble. I mean, just the feel of this car and how quick it accelerates and fun it is. And I mean, when you're going to, car meets or going to, events like H2O, everybody has WRXs, everybody has, SRTs, it's nice to be on the outside of that bubble and, be something that, is an individual, be yourself. And I feel like the Abarth allows you to be yourself, if you like fast import type cars, everybody is quick to grab, a JDM car or a, something to that extent. And the Hondas, I might just had a brain fart, but the Toyotas, the Nissans. But at the end of the day, quick across the water, Europe has probably some of the greatest imports. I mean, with this being a European, import, and it's fun. It's, like I said, practical is no. But to be an individual and be fast and nimble and almost park anywhere. I mean, I've been in situations at, parking lots and parking garages where, if you had a full-size sports car or had a full-size SUV, then you wouldn't have got a parking spot. I mean, these things are not only great in traffic, great on gas. I usually, get about, I'd say 25, 30 miles a gallon. And, I always use the plus gas. So not full premium, but I definitely put the plus gas, not just regular, in there. Outside of some normal, things like oil changes and tires. After a year and a half, I did get tires for these, which they are a interesting size. You aren't just going to go to your normal Walmart and get tires, because they are a specific size. They will have to be special ordered. But outside of those two things, this is a very low maintenance car. People joke that Fiat stands for Fix It Again, Tony. But really, I haven't had any, issues with the car. And I mean, it's fun to drive. It's very, a unique experience. A lot of people, want that car that is fun to drive. I mean, you're in your car probably 50% of your life. So why wouldn't you want something that is fun? You know, you could sit there and drive something that kind of irritates you, is big and bulky, but you know, I really enjoy this car. I mean, I would recommend it to anyone that can afford it, because it definitely is in the price scale that most people could afford. I mean, a base model 500 is about 14 grand. Now, the top tier, you know, turbo Abarth is probably in the 20 to 21 grand. I mean, and that's not horrible for a fun sports car that, you know, gets you a nice, you know, car that can, you know, run with the big dogs, and also nice to go to car shows and car meets and be an enthusiast car, because there's a great aftermarket scene, from Euro Compulsion to Forge to 500 Madness. That whole scene is amazing. And I mean, out here in West Virginia, we have about 5 of us near the university that, you know, kind of stick to each other, talk to each other, and created a mini, you know, car club, the Appalachian Abarth Owners Club. And we have different, you know, levels of modification. Mine, I'd say, is, you know, mid-grade to mild, while there's a gentleman named Jay that pretty much has, you know, everything you could do to the car. And then there's a gentleman named Nick that basically has, you know, a good bit of performance upgrades and also a tune. And I mean, it's a wonderful community. I take a look at the community from the Dodge perspective, and yeah, the SRT guys wave to each other, and the, you know, they kind of park near each other at car shows. But I've learned that they're a very cocky crowd. You know, it turns into a pissing contest almost, if you will, of, you know, whose car is better. And that's not what the car scene is for, you know? I mean, I feel like the car scene is made for people that, you know, want to have fun and enjoy their vehicle. If you can only afford a $200 Honda Civic, but that's your baby, you should feel comfortable showing up to a car meet and, you know, talking to guys that have the same interests in what you plan on doing with your $200 Honda Civic, you know? And I mean, I feel like the acceptance in the Abarth community is a lot more than in the acceptance to the Dodge or SRT community. And it definitely, you know, is more fun. I mean, it looks aggressive. I mean, you can hear the crackles and pops, I'm sure. And I mean, I've done some stuff to the engine to get that. I mean, it's not stock when it sounds like that. I've done a DC performance exhaust, straight piped, Perrin boost gauge, a Forge blow-off valve. What have I done? But it definitely, I've got street glow all around that is controlled through music and a remote. And it's definitely, you know, a nice little beast. I mean, we sit here and, you know, Mouseball has made the question why the Abarth 500 is such a great car and an enthusiast car. And I had to kind of, you know, make a follow-up video or a response video, because I feel like it's a car that is really slept on in this community. I mean, it's, even with a base model 500 and, you know, a few, you know, mods, and especially with our kind of community, you would instantly be accepted into the car scene, and you would have a unique car that not everyone has. I mean, like I said, everyone has the Dodges, the Subarus, the, you know, Toyotas, the Nissans, Hondas. So when you show up to a car meet with, you know, an Abarth, and, you know, it sounds like a mean monster. I mean, the Abarth does not sound like it should. It's tiny, it's smaller than a Honda Civic, but it literally sounds like a monster, a street racer that just wants to be uncaged. And, you know, like I said, I just wanted to make a quick, you know, response video, because I feel like this car itself and the whole Abarth community is really slept on. With the area I live, the fact that there's only like 4 or 5 of us that, you know, have them, I think that that's a sign that this car is highly slept on. And, you know, people in a just out of high school or fresh out of college, or a car that should be considered a beginner's tuner car, could, you know, get in pretty cheaply, and they're respected all around. I mean, I took mine to H2O in Ocean City, and the respect level from the Volkswagen community, the respect level from the Subaru community is amazing. And it's funny because just, you know, a year or two before that with an SRT, you wouldn't get the same respect from the Volkswagen community or the Subaru community with a SRT. You basically were a lone wolf, you know, and everything. I mean, and I had my SRT done up. It was Lamborghini doors, custom, you know, Pennywise the Clown wrap with, you know, turbo, 8-gallon nitrous, and, you know, straight piped. It was a very fast car, 318, 3,000 watt amplifier with touchscreen DVD, a PS2, running TrueSpeak through a computer. Basically, it talked like KIT. It was a fun toy, but I realized the difference of how many people talk to you about your car or show you respect from those two different cars. You know, a heavily modified, you know, SRT to this Abarth, and the, I guess, response is shockingly welcome, you know, because people like these cars. They're kind of cute, they're not intimidating in looks. So when you know, show up at a meet and people want to talk to you, I guess it's more inviting. I'm not saying that the other car had less mods or wasn't as attractive, but I do notice that because this car is not as intimidating or screams race me, that you get a lot of, you know, positive response in the car community, and that is a good thing too. And, you know, for the people that, you know, I just wanted to address one thing, and, you know, before I close out today, because the car community itself is dying and has issues, and some of it's, you know, the epidemic, some of it's the world itself. Not many people are wanting to go out and, you know, enjoy it. But there's also a certain brand of people, and that brand of people, you know, will go out with a base model, you know, 500 or a base model Mustang like an EcoBoost, and just cause scenes and run their mouth at car shows that, you know, oh, I could beat anybody here and I could smoke you. And For one, it's the wrong place and the wrong time. At Cars and Coffee, you know, we're trying to build a camaraderie, a, you know, family atmosphere, and, you know, you kind of just look stupid doing stuff like that. And in the same context, a, you know, scene like that where you could drag race or do stuff like that at H2O, it would only take one or two cars to pretty much hand you your ass, and hopefully you would learn not to run your mouth. But it kind of pushes people that are car enthusiasts away from that scene. You know, it leaves a bad taste in their mouth. I mean, we all work 9-to-5s. We get stressed at work. We get stressed at home. We get stressed about bills or whatever. So when we go to a car meet, we don't want to be stressed or bothered with, you know, there's no other way to put it, but a fuckboy that basically wants to think, you know, his base model is faster than something that, you know, could easily take him off the line. You know, that's, people mature at different ages, and sometimes it takes a, you know, highly modified car to knock them down to size, or they end up ticking off the wrong person and they just get knocked the hell out. I don't promote either of them. One, because beating someone, you know, is against the law. And two, you know, I don't promote racing on the street. You know, do it where it's legal or is sanctioned. But, you know, I'm going to close out this. I seem like I'm rambling, but like I said, I wanted to make like a response video of why the Abarth is such an amazing car to own, and why I feel like it's slept on as a car in the car enthusiast scene. So, you know, Mouseball made the first one, and I'm kind of, you know, doing a response to that. I drive a 2019 Abarth 500 turbo. Like I said, I've got a forge blow-off valve, a pair and boost gauge, straight pipe, DC performance exhaust, and a tiny tune. But I mean, it's fun as it is. I mean, there's so much more that could be done, but it's come to the point that I probably just need to buy a toy, because this is my daily driver. So you don't always want to be, you know, tinkering with something that's your daily driver, because it could cause problems. But again, I'm just going to sign off because I'm rambling. But this is DJ Gucci White Kid, Bipolar Radio. You know how we do. Stay classy, America. You heard me?